Perfectly normal radio. It sounds a little something like this.
Shit! Exactly. 100 points.
Welcome to Perfectly Normal Radio, where we're finishing things, starting things, meddling in the middle of a bunch of stuff. Starting at the finishing, this week we round out our living room series. Previously, we talked about fighting for justice. Street justice, social justice. Though, as members of an overexposed age and culture, we mostly covered the more ridiculous, responded to the more obnoxious. But, if we covet what we see every day, then I imagine contempt follows in the same suit. And I suppose as long as we're all fighting fire with fire, we're all gonna end up with foreskin grafted onto our scalps at some point. But, perhaps I'm being prejudiced against ugly bags of mostly water. If you have a group of people that isn't plagued or even sniffly with internal, personal bullshit that undermines your stated purpose and besmirches the fine name of decency and morality, congratulations, you're the first. And by first I mean, well, you'll see. But, in an effort to help, when separating yourself from the rest of humanity, and yes you are, grammatically, physically, and ideologically, just remember that underneath every timeless, abstract ideology and slogan is a bunch of people wearing reality like concrete shoes. And inside them is an impulsive little lizard brain wrapped in the most sophisticated excuse-generating machine in the known universe. And you're one of them, along with everyone you'll ever meet or watch on the YouTubes. And if you... Wait, hold on. I was letting my moral crusade get in the way of me, not treating you like you couldn't get anywhere without my 2 cents for bus fare? This week we're talking about where the ideas about equality come from, at least some of those ideas, and even how you'd go about defining people so that you could feel equal or superior to them or hungry to them. We also get into who's most likely at the forefront of people knowledge nowadays and what they might be using that information for. And then, outer space! So get to it, and I'm gonna holler at you at the end of the show about some changes coming up. I was gonna tell you about them up front, but then I started,
Mark Mao's not the greatest leader the world's ever known. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure he is. I'm pretty sure you can check that one on
according to
Google.
China,
Dick.
it wasn't Chairman Mao, it was Chairman Meow.
It was Sharon Mao. The lady from across the street.
It was Sharon Mao. He's sharing Mao.
How much Mao did you share today? Like, I don't know.
A little bit.
You know, normal amount of Mao. You know, what's gonna...
Walk around naked, like whatever you want to fucking do. Just don't expect me to care.
And also, when you get into like the kind of clicked up sort of, racial and social justice, blah, 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 it's a lot of like, okay, black people are going to get worse, so you pick up black people a little bit. Oh, now the Indians have been getting worse, you pick up the Indians. Oh, now the Mexicans have been getting it less. Okay, you pick up, and it's kind of like some weird-ass game where you're like trying to balance a bunch of blocks, make them all same level,
Yeah.
but no one's happy being equal.
It doesn't work.
Because you don't get spotlighted when you're equal. And it's one of those things where, like, these are probably people who have no legitimate power in their lives. No legitimate, like, creativity, or what are you looking for there, boss?
Bottle of juice that I
Oh, okay.
misplaced. Anyway, people are fundamentally unequal. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
Fucking equality.
And it wasn't, I don't think anyone gave a shit until it became easier to manage people who thought they were equal. Like,
Ooh.
easier to put them through school, easier to use them in the workplace, in the army.
Interesting.
And to our listeners at home, a lot of times I fall back on that because I heard it, I think it was from John Taylor Gatto or someone like that, and just kind of, it seemed to make a lot of sense in a lot of places that what was easier to organize and manage became what happened. Whether that was your prime motivation, who the hell knows for sure. However, it seems to be the case almost 100% of the time.
But I'm one of those people who thinks that we just haven't found the system of variables yet that quantify people because everybody's terrified to look for it.
Not only, because you'd have to split it up into like what you are overall, what you are at the time. There's plenty of things. like metrics or logistics or whatever word's proper there to quantify enough of what makes a human fucking personality. Really digging into what the hell motivates and...
We were trying. I mean, for a long time we were trying. Like, to find out just how you do that. You know, is it like the capacity of your skull? Like, dudes like filling skulls with beans, and okay, more beans fit in this guy's skull, so he must have been smarter, and then like head size, and then like facial features, and then like intelligence tests. You know, like we were like very gradually refining this process, and then all of a sudden just stopped because it became taboo. Like, nobody wanted to accept this truth that might be true, might not be true. Like, so they'll tell you, you know, oh, well, you know, intelligence isn't quantifiable, and they couldn't find a way to measure it accurately because nobody's tried in 200 years. Like, all we are walking sacks of fucking juice. Like, there's an amount of variables going on that is a whole fucking lot, but it's not infinite. And all it is just a refinement of technique until you can figure that out.
I think one of the other problems that happened was I think a lot of the money that came for stuff like that came from money that was trying to prove that white people were special. And so once they got closer, we're like, oh.
Right, that's also true.
If you stop malnutritioning people and not teaching them shit, they might actually know something.
Because, like, a lot of the people who did that research, like, their first step was, okay, I'm better, how do I prove it? Yeah.
And I'd say another thing affecting that is, you know, that's all fun and games and kind of a silly sort of, like, namby-pamby thing until it starts gaining traction. Then it becomes important. Then you're like, oh, so you're getting close to actually figuring out what motivates people.
That's bad news, man. I mean...
Okay, so now the deal goes, we'll set you up with a nice package, like $30 billion. Like, you're fucking set forever. And then you're like, well, I'm not really sure. Like, or we torture everyone you love till the end of time and make you watch. We're not even going to touch you. We're just going to sit there and make you watch the people you love suffer. And once you say no to this, that's just what your life is. There's no like, okay, stop. No, that's it.
Yeah.
Pass or fail. And you're failing miserably right now.
Real bad.
Here's my research. Thank you, sir. Your check's over there, man. By the way, you should get into our golf club for super rich people. It is badass.
You're going to want to be in there, like, before we can publish this shit, because it's about to get real bad out there. And the thing is that it's circular, too, like, right as much as right now that we want to think that everybody's equal. Mm-hmm. In 30 years, we're going to think us now are fucking idiots for thinking that way, in the same way that people think people who are racist are stupid idiots.
Yeah.
People can't see that, like, thought continues to grow and evolve. Like, we're not at the top of the pyramid right now.
I think they need a handhold. They need something to be real. Like, something to be, like, definite. For whatever, however that helps you.
Some kind of small victories. Like, I don't know what the people of the future are going to think I'm an idiot for believing. I really don't. If I did, it would be a totally different story. But they're going to. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, we figured it out in 2015. Everybody's equal and we're rocking and rolling and everything's fine now. It doesn't work that way.
I think also, and a lot of the people you hear questioning things in the past and you think are really smart, all they really had to do was like, I think this is kind of bullshit. I don't think we're right. And then you can go down, as long as you have some sort of body of work to go after that, you can go down. I mean, how smart does everyone think that Mark Twain is? Probably a pretty smart guy. Samuel Clemens. You know, fellow Samuel.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, I mean, he really didn't have to be. He just had to be like, this is dumb, and add a punchline in.
Yeah.
And you're gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it just...
challenge the status quo in a funny way.
Yeah, and who fucking... And that's the problem, is like knowing those things is important, I think. But also, at one point... what would happen after that knowledge was out and about and people really took it in? That's what's kind of interesting because like a lot of you can deal with like an optical illusion or with a lot of things, like a lot of the psychology shit. It only works as long as you don't know that there's magic. As long as you don't know the magic, as long as you don't know the cup and ball trick secrets, that shit will work on you. And the second you know that something's happening, you're shut down.
I think that it would probably be worse. I mean, if we did know, if we could quantifiably know that one person was better than another one, like by whatever standard, like right now, I guess we do it with money. But, I mean, there's 100 ways that you could stack people against each other. I mean, it would be fucking chaos out there. Like, what do you do? Maybe somebody figured it out, and maybe white people are not that great, and that's why we've never heard anything ever again.
Like, well, don't tell them.
Whoa there, Richardson. Let me see that. Whoop. Oh, thank God that project didn't work out.
Well, that's next time.
That would have been awkward. But obviously that would be a nightmare. I mean, I guess it really is for the best that we're not looking into that, but it would cause us to have to...
Well, I think, and I don't know if you would find a better, less than, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, maybe we're all just good in different ways.
Well, I think that's what it is. I think it just might be the fact that, like,
elves have higher dexterity and dwarves have higher strength,
Yeah.
and I don't want to live in Harrison Bergeron world, but I don't want to live in a world where I'm, like, my life sucks.
Fuck all that nonsense. There you go.
Fuck the nonsense.
Jeez. It's not going to be as good as this thing is greater than this thing or black and white, just because some of the basic foundations on which our logic is, comes from is the fact that there was day and night. And we would die at night. And then also, like, okay, split-second decision, what's better than what? And so you get this system of, like...
Day, of course. What are you talking about?
Yeah. That kind of one or the other, and, 1 and 0, and 1 is greater than 0. Kind of, like, stupid, simple logic. And I think that's why you get so much funny stuff whenever they look at, like, the large structures in the universe and the very small structures, because they don't follow shit like that. Like, they're like, we can't tell... enough stuff about this particle at the same time to make it make any sense to us. This is crazy. It seems like it's in 2 places at once. And you're like, well, hey, don't feel bad. It's not like you're conditioned to be able to see stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, we're kind of like measuring it by its changes in other, shit like that, or like the larger ones. It's like, it's great that you don't understand stuff, and it's great that there's fucking questions. Too.
I mean, what happens when we finally run up against our own limitations?
I think, luckily... the combination of just how weird everything is with our limited capacity...
We're in the sweet spot right now.
I think it'll always keep us, hitting the next level and moving forward. Hopefully we just don't fucking extinct ourselves. Because we seem to be like the kind of people who would have the thought of, like, we should go to the stars, but not the really serious thought of why.
Yeah.
We're good enough to just be like... hey, we need to keep this DNA going, which means we need to get off the fucking planet, because finally, I don't know, Elon Musk took fucking Stephen Hawking on his shoulders and they chicken fought fucking Jerry Falwell and fucking, I don't know, Newt Gingrich, I don't know who these people are. They all fought each other, and it turns out that get off the planet and spread the seed won.
I hope so.
I personally would like to demystify as much of the psychological stuff as possible and get it into the public trust as fast as possible, if only just so I can stop seeing extended shitball commercials. Because that's whenever I think about like how you measure that shit, how do you quantify a human being inside his brain?
How do you do that?
Yeah, it always comes because there's definitely no way in hell that anyone stopped looking. But there's definitely a lot of using it for stupid purposes, like, like we figured out that if we say, like, 19 warm words that have warm associations in you, you'll buy this hot chocolate mix more often than you want.
Shit, yeah, I will.
And fucked up stuff like that, because things like that exist, you're I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but your brain was not made by a super powerful being that was very smart. He might have been super powerful, but he kind of sucked at what he did. Because there's all sorts of tricks and little loopholes and stuff in your thinking that would not only allow you to think clearly about the world, because if you had to fucking, reassess everything you were looking at every time you looked at it, you'd be fucked. But at the same time, it leaves you open to, like, being primed for things and all that weird-ass shit that,
true.
The many reasons why, you're trying to avoid the people influencing your brain, and you also don't want anyone to think that you're crazy and think anyone's out to get you.
So you gotta pull those balances, and there's shit like that. And that's how that, which I would like to have it demystified as fast as possible. Just
I think that really the key is think about how you think.
Mm-hmm.
Just never take anything at face value. Don't trust your fucking brain.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
And don't worry, you'll be fine.
Actually, I had that jersey.
Oh, last night I watched Roddy Piper on the Mario Brothers show.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Where he came to get his bagpipes that were being fixed by Mario, and they had turned it into like a crazy vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, of course.
When they turned it on, it'd start playing Roddy Piper's theme song. That's pretty cool.
Because it was back when lucrative corporate tie-ins were more just a goofy, like, hey, you know this guy, right? Can we get him on the show?
Yeah.
And not like, hey, this is how we're going to use these people for the next 20 years.
And that was the show, if you didn't know. And so, things are going to be a little different moving forward. In an attempt to maintain both quality and whatever not killing yourself is called, we'll be doing these here picture podcasts every 2 weeks or so from now on. And then for more topical and the channel not remaining in obscurity forever reasons, we'll be doing some audio-only stuff of a more relevant nature. Stuff we can feed into the system and get out some views and some clickies. So in a few weeks, you'll be getting some more sounds and images about Korea, a little bit about now, and a whole lot about Busan and Kochido during the Korean War. Before that, we may roll something out from the vault to tide you over, or we might talk about The Expanse or the new Fallout game coming out. Neither of which is topical in the week-long memory of the Great Beast. But we're going to find a picnic table that we can all sit down at and, get some ribs going. Maybe some brew dogs and some watermelon. We'll figure it out. We'll all find something that we can talk about and you can listen to, and then, money and, I don't know, whatever, art, relevance, posterity. I'd prefer the watermelon, but whatever. Ta-ta for now. Second star to the right. And wherever you go, there you are.
What happens after we die? I think just the two of us.
I guess somebody else picks up this list. It just starts where we left off.
Yeah.
So we better start checking them off so we die.
I wonder if they'll eventually, after enough deaths, figure out through autopsy reports that this is the cause.